Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you seasoned veterans of what we do around here. What we do around here, bring about conversations of a psychological, mental health, emotional health paradigm. We do that as often as we can, usually several times per week. We try to do that for your listening pleasure. We've got over 1,300 of these available for that purpose, and we continue to bring you the best in content that we can. Signs of strong mental health is the concept for today, and we will kind of tackle that. The first thing to think about is if you're trying to balance your emotions, life or business or relationship coaching can be a valuable tool in that effort. And so if you're looking for that, please feel free to reach out at PO Perception on Twitter and or in the About Me section of this YouTube uh, channel. And so first thing is managing your emotions. Finding a way to manage your emotions is a valuable tool. It doesn't mean don't have them. It just means understand that emotions are indicators of things that either need to be changed or things that need to be celebrated and glorified. And so when we really do balance our emotions, it's not necessarily about suppressing them, but it's about understanding that they are not definitions of our personhood. They are not meant to be definitions of who we are, and also beginning to understand how to question what we believe. Is what I'm believing in my best interest? Is what I'm believing something that is going to lead me forward or backward? And when you understand how to ask those questions, and also update your beliefs often, and just because you believe something once or a year ago or 2 years ago or 10 years ago doesn't mean that believing it now is in your best interest. Sometimes we outgrow people, sometimes we outgrow situations, sometimes we outgrow belief systems, and being willing to give ourselves permission to outgrow things is a valuable tool and something that everyone needs to be willing to at least consider doing if it's going to serve us well. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to know everything that we make a decision about, whether we outgrow a political belief, a religious belief, a relationship, a job. These are all things that can be outgrown, but if we don't give ourselves permission to outgrow them, we ultimately get to a place of stagnation and we start living an inauthentic life. Next thing is boundaries. Understanding your boundary levels, understanding what you can and cannot handle, avoiding the act of overgiving on a consistent basis so that you either A, begin to resent the person or persons you're trying to help, and or B, that begin to kind of look at yourself as a person who is always being taken advantage of or always overgiving, always being in an unbalanced situation. Now, understand that you are responsible for the level of balance that you expect other people to give you. And so when you are kind of dealing with something like that, you have to be at least somewhat self-aware. Now, that self-awareness isn't always going to benefit you. It's not always going to be in alignment with what you're capable of seeing from within yourself. Sometimes we don't necessarily know how to make the best decisions or know what's coming next, but also knowing how to kind of balance ourselves and identify, hey, this is where my strengths are, this is where my weaknesses are. Let me make better decisions for my own benefit, and begin to understand the necessity of doing that, the frequency with which we need to do that, the ways in which doing that lead us into healthier decisions, and ultimately healthy balance is one of the most valuable and important things that any person can do. The next is understanding that there is a need for limitation of kind of how much we can give, and saying no doesn't make you a bad person. It also doesn't make you weak. It also doesn't make you selfish entirely. If you need to say no because you can't perform a task that someone's asked you to perform, you got to look within yourself and see where your identification of limits is, and also know that self-care is important. So if taking care of yourself and taking time for yourself isn't a priority, that'll ultimately lead to a negative space internally, and ultimately you may resent the person who you're giving to, you may resent the situation that you're giving to, and ultimately lead yourself in a direction that doesn't resolve in a positive or progressive manner, and that ultimately is going to be a negative situation for you. So hopefully this is helpful. Keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Till next time, everybody.